Shudrik, Chief Rabbi Poland. It's a pleasure and an honor to have all of you here this morning.
How do you feel that Jewish life being rebuilt in Poland, people coming back, people davening here, people...
Every Jew that does one more is a good thing. That's what we try to do. More Jews doing more mitzvahs. That's what we do.
And the history of the synagogue?
The synagogue was built, dedicated in 1902. Was used as a warehouse and stable by Germans. That's how it survived.
Amazing. When did it become a factory again?
As far as I know, pretty much right after the war.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here we are in the Mila 18 memorial of Mordechai and Lubitz. You must have heard his name. He was the leader of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And here it's on a quiet street. And of Lubitz from 1920 to 1943.
Commandant.
Yeah, Chavra, Hashomer Hatzir, leader of the Shomer Tzayir, Mafkid, Hiragun, leader of defense, Yehudi, Jewish defense, which battled Manhig, Hamarad, the ghetto. He commanded the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, Warsaw, the 8th May 1943.
One of the liveliest streets of pre-war Jewish Warsaw. These ruins of the bunker at 18 Mila Street are the place of rest of the commanders and fighters of the Jewish combat organization, as well as some civilians. Among them lies Mordechai Engelwitz, the commander-in-chief on May 8, 1943, surrounded by the Nazis. After 3 weeks of struggle, many perished or took their own lives, refusing to perish at the hands of their enemies. There were several hundred bunkers built in the ghetto, found and destroyed by the Nazis. They became graves. They could not save those who sought refuge inside them, yet they remain everlasting symbols of the Warsaw Jews' will to live. The bunker at Mila Street was the largest in the ghetto. It is the place of rest of over 100 fighters, only some of whom are known by name. Here they rest, buried where they fell, to remind us that the whole earth is their.
So many Jewish people died here just to be at this wall. Very touching, very moving, very hard.
Esta es la pared que queda del gueto de Varsovia de hace 75 años. Esto es lo que queda. Muy triste, aquí murieron muchas gentes, muchas familias, hijos, pequeños, grandes. Y hoy en día lo que está alrededor de esta pared son edificios modernos. Vous pouvez voir, nous sommes ici au mur du ghetto de Varsovie. Il y a 75 ans, c'est arrivé que beaucoup de personnes sont mortes ici.
Quite amazing that we walked the streets and we only could find one person that knew anything about this wall.
True.
And I could be standing on the grave of my great-great-grandfather or your great-great-grandfather, and I wouldn't know it.
I just feel like it's shocking to think that the Jews were herded together and kept in here like cattle without the freedom to live their lives and come and go, and just, I mean, the worry they must have felt about not knowing what was coming next.
I also would please like to acknowledge those Gentiles and Polish people who literally risked their lives. In particular, there was a woman named Irina Sendler, who was a nurse, who literally used to smuggle people in and out of the ghetto. The Jews had to guard the Germans to make sure of that.
Along the path of suffering and death, over 300,000 Jews were driven in 1942 to 1943 from the Warsaw Ghetto to the gas chambers of the Nazi extermination camps.
railway tracks that you see the trams coming in is the exact same railway tracks that were during the Warsaw Ghetto during the Second World War. The city is rebuilt. 90% of it was destroyed in the war, and now it's a whole new city of Warsaw. It's something to see. It's something to experience for those.
Slightly disappointing monument marking the spot where around 300,000 Jews were loaded on cattle wagons bound for Treblinka. The Nazi commandant in charge of the deportations lived directly opposite, that way, lying between Unschlagplatz and the monument of the ghetto heroes, lies the legendary monument labeled Mila 18. Note, this is not the address where you can find the monument. Essentially no more than a symbolic grassy knoll, it marks the spot from where the ghetto uprising was directed.
Here we are, Boxing Day, December 26th in Zlota 75. The streets are empty. It's Boxing Day here. There's not too many people around.
The Museum of the City of Łódź. This is the factory of Poznański. So, what is the most important to understand about Łódź? It's like the industrial history of the city. So this was the gate to the factory.
Wow.
Thank you. So look at this P. Can you see this P above the gate? It's P like Poznań. And Łódź, in the language, in the Polish language, means a boat. It's a boat. This P. And again, P. Welcome in the Palace of Poznań. After Rubinstein, the chemist. Oh yeah. So he was from Łódź. He was born in Łódź. His parents are buried in a Łódź Jewish cemetery. He was born in Łódź, and later on he studied diplomacy in Lvov, Poland at that time, and then the war started, and he became like a soldier of the Home Army of Poland, and he was in the court of getting information about the Holocaust. Going to the ghetto in Warsaw twice. It was very dangerous. He was not Jewish, so he
See the electronica, 1912. That's what it's been. Grace, what do you think of Łódź here?
Well, this is what used to be the textile industry and his home of Mr. Poznański, who was Jewish. He survived the war because he was not in Poland at the time. Him and his family had moved to France. It is very much like the distillery in Toronto, which was made into shops and into entertainment, bars and all that. And it's very beautiful nowadays, and it's where people come and have a good time. There's movies, there's a store, and there's bowling as well.
Here we are, 26 Lukamierska. Dad, we finally made it, I don't know, 75 years later. It's emotional, it's sad, it's uplifting. Your parents, your sisters lived here. I can't say, but maybe I'm the tourist Zweig in so many years that came here, and hopefully we'll do a Kaddish here. Okay, this is really 28 Lukamierska. Dad, I think there's some mail still for us here. I don't think they ever took it, whatever, but here we are, and 28 Lukamierska in Łódź city.
Which was another thing that made it the ghetto, yes? People couldn't escape. And if you were asking me if there was a ghetto like in Warsaw, no. There was not a wall here. There was like a barrier, a fence. Barbed wire and wood, but it was not a brick wall. And again, in Warsaw there was a brick wall, but some people escaped.
Right.
You know it.
They dug holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Łódź there was not a brick wall, but people couldn't escape. It's not the wall, it's not the physical barrier that made
The
it.
fear.
It's not even the fear, it's the system that makes it isolated. It's the way how the Germans created the ghetto. The fact that we were in Wartegau, in the part that was directly incorporated into Nazi Germany. The fact that, which was supposed to be like a role model German city, the fact that the social relations, I mean, however they were, yes, between Jews and non-Jews, they were broken because outside there were Germans, yes? Polish resistance movement almost didn't exist in the city. So if you escape, only people, let's say, to escape, you need to have somewhere to go. But you don't know those people who live there because these are not the same people from before the war.
Right. So you're kind of on your own.
Yes. And you need to speak German or Polish. What about 70% of people who here could speak only Yiddish?
Yes.
So it's almost better to be where you know than to try and be in a world where you don't know anybody.
Yes,
and you
so
don't speak the language.
basically there was no chance. I mean, very few people did it at the very beginning successfully. Later on, this ghetto was so isolated, like a total isolation, and people didn't escape, they were here. And another thing is that, which was supposed to be like this pure model German city, a lot of Germans everywhere, yes? And if they were not like high number, like this propaganda, the signs, the flags everywhere, yes, so fear.
Yes.
One person who escaped from the Lodz ghetto, he was a Jew brought here from Germany, so he spoke German, so he could pass out as German. But he was so scared that when he escaped, he forgot he forgot to get rid of the Star of David, and he had it in his pocket. And he get to the train station, and when he was buying a ticket, the yellow star fell out. So he was brought to the ghetto and executed here. It's very interesting. So when people were watching the execution from the windows, like stepping here, yes, it's like you fear to take some steps. You're just afraid. And this is, like how all these like terrorist regimes are governing people by terror, by creating fear. So the ghetto was 4 square kilometers for 200,000 people, the most isolated ghetto in the occupied Poland, with the smallest number of people who escaped successfully. There are like a few people, a few cases. Also what happened, it's like just at the very beginning, like there were some Poles who were trying to have some contact with the Jews inside. So at the very beginning, during this first week, they were publicly executed. And then what do you have?
Go in. This is the site of public executions of ghetto inmates in the Straits of Lodz. Do some more explaining, please, Milena.
So this is the place, like right now this square is under renovation. So before the Second World War, it was a marketplace. So people were selling and buying things. It was called Bazaar Platz, like bazaar, like the market. And during the Second World War, we are in Bałwoty, we are in the ghetto, and here, those people who did something illegal, those who tried to escape from the ghetto, they were executed here, while the others were forced to watch it. And here, we've got this small monument, like a plaque, put by the city of Łódź. And look at this, it's very important. It's Litzmannstadt Ghetto, 1940-1944. And this is a very interesting story behind it. This is a drawing made by a small boy in the ghetto. His name was Abraham Koplowicz. He saw this church, which was used as which was empty. Yes?
Was that the church?
This is the church.
Oh my gosh.
Because all the Catholics were removed from here when the Germans established the ghetto. So the church was used as a warehouse of stolen property. And here it's a bridge. Later on, after lunch, the Jewish community, I will show you that place. So Abraham Koplowicz saw it from his house. He was a poet, he wrote poems, and on the cover of his notebook he made this drawing. He didn't survive the war.
No,
the notebook was found.
Services on Lodz on 3:15 p.m. on Mincha, Kabbalah Shabbat, and then 9:30 in for Shachris.
what's happened.
Perfect.
What's happened.
And there are young people keeping the Jewish community going. If anyone wants to see Jewish life in Lodz, it's here.
Of course, we are very activists.
Yes, and we have minyan every Friday night and every Saturday morning of minyan.
Of course, and other holidays.
Yes.
We are singing, we are dancing, we are eating across the food, we are spending, we are hanging out.
All right.
Just feel invited.
It's
Come.
the place to be.
Come, please.
Okay, beautiful. And then stop here and then go to Israel, perhaps.
Of course, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Near the yellow bookstore. Everyone sees this? Okay, so now if you need toilet in this building, then go downstairs for food lotteries, also.
Go ahead. What is your name?
My name is Bartosz.
And you're a driver here, tour leader?
Driver and tour leader.
And you take people to Auschwitz? All the time?
All the time, every day.
And busy time to come? When is the busy time?
Busy time between March or the start of March and finish the August.
Okay. And do many Polish school kids come here to Auschwitz?
Oh, this is many school, but more tourists coming from another country. School is regular sightseeing for the school because it's learning what happened here.
And what other countries they come from?
Many. The first countries is England.
England.
Second is Italy.
Italy.
Espanol.
Spain, yes.
More tourists from United States.
Yes.
New Zealand or France.
Russia?
Russia is not more now.
Really? Germany?
Germany, yes, but Germany is next to the Poland. This is the private sightseeing. Yes, it's arrived a private car.
I see. So they don't do tour group, you see.
What?
They don't do tour group like you did.
No, only private is coming. Sometimes on the tour, but Germany is next to the Poland. It's not far off.
I see. What is your friend's name?
My friend is Andrew.
Andrew, you speak English?
Little bit.
No problem. It's learning experience. Learning, right? Learn to come to Auschwitz. Learning experience, right?
Learning?
Learning. Education.
Education, yes. You must visit in the Auschwitz in Poland because more people around the world don't know what happened in here.
Absolutely. Okay, our expert here on Auschwitz, he says first time Auschwitz became tourist site, what year?
First time is 1947.
Really?
Yes. Before 45 or 47, but I'm not historical, but my friend told me, or more people told me, so between 45 47, it's first Soviet soldier make a prison for the German.
And 47 onward, every year more people coming, right?
Yes, 47 start sightseeing, but between when they finish Second World War, the 47 years start, between 2 years,
yes.
It was the prisoner for the Polish prisoner.
Wow. Thank you. Excuse me. Can I ask you where you're from, what country?
Philippines.
Philippines?
Yes.
You taking a tour group here?
Yes. We have a tour guide taking the ticket.
A lot of people coming from Philippines to visit here?
Yes.
Very nice. It's good education, right? Good history to learn about this?
Right. Thank you.
What is your name?
Tom Lee.
Tom Lee? Thank you very much, Tom Lee. Thank you. Bye. You're from Switzerland?
Yes, I am.
And you're with a group here from Switzerland?
Yes, we are.
What is your name?
My name is Mark.
Mark. And you're all coming just to visit Auschwitz, Krakow?
Yeah.
Very nice. Part of the school or part of your own?
It's an experience for ourselves.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, you speak Swiss or French or Deutsch or?
My mother tongue is French. I speak German as well.
Merci beaucoup, danke schön.
You're welcome.
I'm with tour group from Japan, and they're visiting Auschwitz here. Thank you. Konnichiwa. What is your name?
Dominica.
What?
Dominica.
Dominica. And you speak English?
Yes.
And your friend?
Yes.
Yes, most work in English.
You take a lot of English speakers?
Here in
tours? Yes.
Yes.
How long is the tour about?
3.5 hours. 3 hours maybe.
3 hours here?
3 hours to both Auschwitz and Birkenau.
Okay, thank you. Here is the pillboxes on the outside of Auschwitz. Exactly the way it was 75 years ago. The corpses of prisoners shot while trying to escape are often displayed here as a warning to others in Auschwitz. Here is the exact barbed wire that there was as you can see it. Here is 24 block, also where the prisoners were and where the orchestra was.
I was allowed to take one suitcase to this camp with a maximum weight of 25 kilograms in it.
Oh my God.
You're going to see what these people are taking with them. Imagine that. These people, they were not told how long the journey would be. So sometimes, when the train finally came in, the doors were open on 30, maybe 40% of these people still alive. Wow, still alive. Now these selections were carried out by one of the Nazi physicians, by one of their doctors. So one of them, we identified him. His name was Heinz. On the left is a group of Jewish devotees from Hungary. These people were queuing in with the others, and slowly one by one they were approaching the physician. But this wasn't a real medical examination. Looked like the one which
Here is all the things of Zyklon B. All the containers of Zyklon B. Look at that. So much changes, so much. Eyeglasses. Here are the toilettes that found in Auschwitz, taken away from the Jewish victims. Over 75 years lasting. Artificial limbs, artificial legs, artificial knees, artificial braces, all removed for recycling. When they were born, 1908, 1930, all these people with suitcases. Their names Heller, Line, 80,000 single shoes in this sad monument to all those victims of Auschwitz. May the souls of shoe brushes, shaving brushes, shaving cream, everything you can imagine, nail brushes, hair brushes, all the Nivea cream and all the different creams, facial creams that people carried with them. Some personal artifacts they didn't think they were going for. Antonia Mickiewicz, Polish, but maybe somewhere related somehow. Antonia Mickiewicz. Is it worth it for people to see this?
Yes, everybody should be seeing this. It defines what people are capable of.
Halt, stop. This is the exact picture. What they saw, barbed wire. If you went over the wire, you were shot. It's really scary, but this is exactly what it was. Here we are, just luckily on the right side of the history. This is one of the huts where the Jews of Netherlands were deported and unfortunately were killed. We just saw all the samples of shoes and hair, sadly in Auschwitz. Right here. Anyone who would touch it would be death. You have to go, you have to see this, everybody. To Auschwitz, to Birkenau, which is 25 times bigger than Auschwitz, believe it or not. 6 gas chambers instead of 1, which is still standing. We're doing the march that the kids on the march are living do. We're marching, we're living. That's the only thing you have to notice today. You see a memorial, Erev Shabbat, the day after a fast day of Asara B'Tevis, 10th of Tevis, and coming into Shabbat here in Krakow. It's really a sign of continuation, of determination. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, the Nazis had expelled these Poles who were living here. Then the Nazis destroyed those local people's houses, and they took the building materials and they used brick to build the first part of Birkenau, section B1, which is right on your left. And all these brick barracks on this side, they housed women only. So we can say that this was a one huge female camp in Birkenau. Once they finished building the brick ones, then they started to build the wooden ones, which were just behind you. This is the second part of Birkenau, the B2, or rather that's what's left. Because what can you see here, ladies and gentlemen? Just one single row of these wooden huts, one more over here, and then just the forest of it.
The original barracks of Birkenau, where over 1 million people were killed, people from all over. We saw the hair in the museum in Auschwitz. Tons and tons of hair. We weren't able to photograph that. This is an original barracks. It's very eerie, very chilling to be here, but it is something which everyone should see. We're going to go and take a look at all the stones here and see. We just finished our tour of Auschwitz, and look how many people are lined up. We came at 7:15 a.m., and now there is a giant line of the people. So you see, even in the midst of the winter, very filled.
Eufen Pripyatschik brennt der Feier und in Sturm.